and I thought this was cool how they had this little little pegboard. And on the back of this particular one has a QR code. So this is what a QR code is. Right here, you scan it with your phone, you get a QR reader.
You don't need an app.
Huh?
She's gonna scan it.
And what it's going to do is going to take you to the Toronto, Toronto, Canada visitors website and tell you if you want to go to eat, where to stay, things to see, highlights in the city.
When you say scan it with your camera, do you mean take a picture of it?
Yeah.
It basically does, yes. What you do, you download the app onto your phone, and you take a picture of it, and then all of a sudden it opens and takes you to using a web browser.
But it's free to download it.
Exactly.
You just
So
go to
it's
your
a
apps.
new Toronto app. Toronto is Tourism Toronto's free official
Visitors, yeah,
to
exactly.
Toronto.
Yeah. So
Can you
I thought it was really cool that Toronto was doing it. And again, you could embed a ton of information, or you keep it really simple, like pushing it to a particular website, mobile website. You can have it go to a registration or contact form, so that you can get contact information. So again, you want to think about how you're connecting with your customers. Does everyone know what a QR code? No. No. Even though it has been around for quite some time, it's like, for some reason 2 years ago it got really, really popular, and then it's kind of curtailed now. I don't know what the next thing is, but it's a way to embed a lot of information and save you some tax. It's become a very kind of cool thing. Anyone else has one else? Not that I see it. So you think about, how you connect with how do you find your prospects? How do you find your customers? You have to think about where they typically go. Where do they go? Where do they shop? Where do they go for information? What organizations do they also belong to? So if I'm a cooperative that wants to connect with members and increase my membership, do I then go out and volunteer and join groups such as Business and Professional Women, BPW? Maybe very well so. Okay. Do I join an organization, a nonprofit like SCORE, that does things such as business planning and marketing? Okay. Or how do I connect with other cooperatives, right, in my kind of cluster, in my region? We're all connected, but do you know what the other cooperatives that exist? Sometimes doors down from you, blocked down from you. So you have to have an inquisitive mind to ask that question, because you never know who that person, who could be. You can strike up a conversation. We all have done it. In the most random places, grocery store, bookstore, places of worship, right? At a concert. You never know, right? That person could be a customer or a collaborator with you as well. So think about that. We talked about collateral pieces in terms of visible, tangible things like business cards, QR codes, flyers, things like that. Chalk on the sidewalk or in a building. Maybe it's a mural that was related to your business. Maybe there's a rally taking place, as there's going to be a lot of people there. What better way to cross-promote what you're doing, right? Don't be afraid to cross-promote. That's one of the hardest things we do as human beings, is we don't tell people enough about what the good stuff we're doing. It's hard. It's uncomfortable, right? So a big part of that is getting yourself to say, okay, I'm okay being uncomfortable. Let me go try it. See what happens. See what happens. Last year when the city of Worcester had the big unveiling for the Worcester Oval, it was one of the coldest nights. November 29th, I won't forget it. It was freezing. I went down and I took pictures, and someone saw me taking pictures and asked, who was I taking pictures for? And it just so happened I had Future Focus business card, which I keep in my pocket. And I was able to tell them this is where they'll be. You never know. Will it turn into something? Who knows? You never know that opportunity of being visible, being in that space as well. Sometimes you have to own that space. There's nothing wrong with doing that either. When someone does come to you, finds you, uses your business, your service, weatherization, it's very important to get the end result or information after you've done the job, done the task. Because they're gonna tell you what you did very good, and this is where you really have to listen more than you speak. Right? You ask some questions, and they're gonna give you information. You ask open-ended questions. What did we do very good? And let them talk. Make a little note. What were some things that we did that we could have improved upon? Maybe it was communication. Maybe it was timeliness of doing the job or task. Maybe, you know, the hot sauce was a little too spicy when you said it was mild. I don't know. I'm MSUing here. That's acronym for making shit up, so bear with me. Okay? Sometimes you have to do that. You have to do a little MSUing. Okay? But asking open-ended questions and saying, hey, did my service or my product, did it give you what you expected? Are you happy? No? Why? Tell me, please, so I can improve it. Yes.
Well, it's interesting that you started off, what did we do right? What did we do well?
Mm-hmm.
Then you went to, what could we have improved on? But you never asked them, what did we do wrong?
Mm-hmm. I didn't use the word wrong.
I know you did.
Right.
I think that's worth noting.
Because it's like good and bad. They're telling the kid, right? What is one of the first words a child learns? No. They hear it. Don't touch that. No. Sit down. No. Be quiet. You know, right? So when you say, "What are you doing right now?"
No.
Are you doing that? No. Right? It happens with teenagers again. They go through that phase. You know, some of you are probably dealing with that right now. You know, but what were some things we did that we could have improved upon?
Right. Puts a positive spin on it.
Again, sometimes people say it's semantics, but it's that little word. What are some things that we did that we could have improved upon? Not that we did it wrong, we did it poorly, is because someone said, well, I thought you were going to get the job done on Thursday last week, and now it's Tuesday. You know, I wish you could have communicated that with me. Okay, there's the answer right there. Making, I want to help me out here. You have the cooperative with the bikes.
My name?
Tell me your name.
Ashley.
Ashley and the bikes, right?
Soul Chariots.
Yes, okay. What's been some of the feedback you've been receiving, Ashley, on your service?
We haven't been asking.
You haven't been asking, okay. So there's one thing right there. You have to ask.
We don't have, we don't have a mechanism right now.
What's the mechanism for asking anything? Like right now, I'm hearing some of this. What's a mechanism for getting feedback from your customers?
I mean, right now we have casual, like, you know, when people get off and say, oh, we hope you enjoyed the ride. They're like, oh, that was great. But it's not really like, how was the ride for you? Like, it's not really an open-ended question.
Okay.
So, I don't know.
You should put a Facebook thing so they can do it when they're writing.
Yeah.
Are you guys, has anyone written any reviews on Yelp yet?
No.
Okay.
We just got our Yelp up there.
You did,
But
okay.
There's one positive review.
One positive, okay. Try to encourage people, even if you forget your friends at first.
I've a couple of times, I've asked fairs, you know, people who were raving, oh, this was awesome,
Yeah.
thank you so much, go on Yelp,
Please,
please,
exactly.
you know, and nobody
Yeah.
has.
Okay, because it takes work and it's time and we're all busy, we're moving. One way to possibly get feedback a little quicker is to use a QR code, have it in, in the buggy where they can scan it, and literally no more than 4 questions, so they can really fill it out as they're walking away from you, and send you that information. Collect that data. Because again, there may be one quote in there that they answer and say, it was phenomenal, I loved, riding with Ashley. She told me about a restaurant that I had never known about. There's gold right there. That we want to put front and center on your website, Facebook. Tweet that, put it out there. Let people take pictures of you with the bike, and please encourage them to come up with your own hashtag. And sometimes people say, well, how do I create my own hashtag? How do I build a buzz with that? A hashtag is a pound sign. Anyone see that parody that Jimmy Fallon and Justin Timberlake did? Hashtag?
Yeah.
And that's okay. But you can create your own hashtag, right? Some people go overboard. So the hashtag is the pound sign, all right? So for example, I'll give you an example. For future focus, media cooperative is too long to put as a hashtag. So one day we started brainstorming, coming up with one. We created FU. Get this. So future, right? FU, focus, FO, media, FUFO, media, right? And we started using that. We created that. So by us using it first and encouraging other people to use it, it builds a buzz. And guess what? You can search right now on Twitter, on Facebook, which is new. You can search hashtags on Facebook now, and Instagram for those hashtags. You want to encourage people to do that because it helps, because you can search for it and you can get information. Sometimes they may not want to go on Yelp or we want to go elsewhere, but they'll hashtag, again, it doesn't have to be thinking really creative or big. You want to keep it short, keep it simple. But you create that, and that becomes part of your brand. It's all part of branding, okay? That's one of those, again, technology 2.0, 3.0 things. Hashtags have become, some people go overboard now, so try to keep it.
I'm one of those people, so
okay.
if I say something too much.
Try to keep your hashtags under, try to keep the hashtags under 10. That's my rule of thumb. Keep them under 10.
Okay, see.
Okay.
I wanted to say, for like pedicab, to keep it like inclusive for those who don't have like the technology, maybe like a clipboard, like with the pedicab like hooked onto it, that like during the ride, if they see that it's like, and you'd be like, oh, can you take that, sir? And it's like a couple questions, like 4 questions that they see that it's not a lot, but something you can do.
Let's see.
Or if they take pictures in the pedicab and post them on Facebook, which I bet a lot of people do. If you were like, oh, can you tag us in your photo?
Exactly.
I've tried saying that no one's ever done it, and I was wondering if there's something I don't understand about how to use social media that people can't easily.
Do you have an account they can tag you?
Do you have like a like page?
I think it's a page. Yeah, it's a page.
Yes,
It's a page versus a
So can they
group.
tag us?
Yes, in a page they
You
can.
should just be like, if you tag us on your Facebook, you get like some kind of a voucher off your next ride or like something. Or if you like us on Facebook, get this.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
I think one of the things that I saw at the what is the juice place?
Pure juice.
Pure juice. And they have this nice cards, like, postcards, and you go there, get your juice, they give you a postcard, it's like a couple dollars off in the next one. But if you take 3 or 4 of them and give it to your friends, like, they're like, okay, if your friends come, you will get something. I mean,
It's
so
like a loyalty card,
so it's
but-
like but it's great because like I don't want them to give me anything, but I know them, I know how hard they work for it, but they make it so easy, right? Like you want to tell people they already open, so they give you the stuff. You go around and they have they have stickers. So if you guys bring stuff here, I'm pretty sure like everybody else will try to like
And their
move it
Facebook, I
around.
don't know how they did it, but on their opening day, if you wrote, like I wrote a status being like,
Yeah.
oh, just started my day at Pure Juice, and it automatically like tagged it to their
Pure
opening day page, and it it did all that stuff. Like I didn't even have to do the ad sign. It like linked it all on. And
They have like
matched up.
the matched up of Pure Juice, like because it's a page, you put Pure Juice already tagged.
It'll pop up.
Yeah.
Exactly. Which that's something that Facebook is continuing to try to update, so that if you write something about a restaurant or business, it goes to their page. That's something that,
They recognize the faces.
yeah.
It was so creepy in the
It is
picture. You
crazy.
go to the picture and
Google Plus is doing something similar as well. So I mean,
Very
Google
creepy.
Plus is gaining more and more popularity now because you can create circles and share certain things in only certain groups of people, certain circles. So it's another tool to use. It's not. It's a lot to digest at first. Because again, you just figured out Facebook, and now you're like, okay, you're gonna add something else to the mix now. That's something else I've got to learn. So you have to think about again, how do you find your customers? How do you communicate with them? how do you get feedback from them, and then how do you use that information feedback to better your product, your service, and your overall interaction with them, okay? Don't be afraid to ask for feedback. Don't.
So specific questions, we got, Green Drive, and we really like the name. We chose Drive because it's got the RI in there, so in our branding we can have like RI be different colors, for the state and all that. And it goes with the logo, and so we really like it. But I noticed that a lot of people who talk about us, people who who use us, who are clients, who are friends, don't usually say Green Drive that much. I hear a lot of people be like EcoBus. And we would never say EcoBus, we never talk about it, but it's always like, oh, would you be able to bring the EcoBus to this event? And I'm like, yeah, sure.
People named our farmers market the Vegemobile, and we did it.
Yeah.
So guess what? Your customer base right there is telling you what they want to call you.
They want to
Embrace it. Embrace it.
There's an obvious reason.
Embrace it.
There's an obvious reason for that.
Yeah.
You can't bring the Green Drive. Well, I suppose you could, but you can bring a bus, so your name doesn't.
EcoBus.
Right, EcoBus. Bring the EcoBus.
Like
but
you're already, like your brand is already eco-youth.
Yeah,
so
right.
then they're automatically, like people automatically brand, because they're like, oh, eco-youth, eco-bus, like it makes sense to them. So you've already
It's already
done,
here.
marketing
It
in that
really is.
sense.
So literally, what you've done, what they've done to themselves, is run it from the back to the front. So you can do both, but then at some point it becomes confusing, right? So are you
It could be the Green Drive EcoBus.
It
Yeah,
could
Green
be.
Drive
It could be.
Green Drive could be your co-op, and EcoBus could just be
The actual
that
vehicle.
vehicle.
Right.
And then if you get more vehicles,
like wavy
each
gravy.
vehicle
There
is
you go.
Gravy.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Eco-bus too.
Yeah.
Wavy gravy. You're not old. But hit the bus, you have a bus. I think it's
So identify new prospects and figure out who they are. That's it is a moving target, but one of the things you have to be in multiple places, multiple lanes, so to speak. You do need to have some, printed material. You do need to have a website in this day and age. I highly recommend it. Again, there's ways to do it for free. A page on Facebook. Yes, you can. You can set up a page on Google Plus as well. Then, for people who are not, for customers that are not so tech savvy or don't even want to even play in that arena, that's fine. You still have to have some, a postcard for feedback and information. Definitely want to certainly have that.
We had a flyer up in the local hardware store, and that got us one of our first. That was like our first job, I think, that we got from just a cold call. So people who homeowners that are going out to try to fix their own lawn, and figure out something at a hardware store. And
Yeah.
oh wait, someone else can do it.
It's really good. Oh, I don't want to do this.
I don't want to do it. I want to hire someone. Right.
I'm so tired
Right.
for shopping at Lowe's.
Right. Absolutely.
Oh, I can't do this.
Maybe at some point, we may have to have a workshop specifically to social media.
Yeah.
That seems like, or what's that?
Huge.
Or two. I mean, that is a big piece of a lot of what we are all doing. Some of us are doing it better than others. Some of us want to learn. So, we may need to have that conversation sooner than later, and have a workshop about that. Because it is one of those things that, again, it's a moving target. Every day there's something new. There really is. There's a new app that gets rolled out, a new website that gets launched. I mean, Tumblr, when it launched, completely changed how people created websites and got information out there. And the fact that now it's merged with all these different programs such as Instagram, Vine, and you name it. I mean, I can go on and talk about Tumblr for days. I mean, the fact that Beyonce put on her Tumblr the first picture of their baby, her and Jay-Z's baby. That was people really? You put it on Tumblr? And it was a big, big move on that part. Could there have been some sort of payoff? Yeah, could have been.
No.
I don't know for sure, but just like I won't get into some other social media stuff that was buzzing today. But so find a new prospect, identify who they are, being able to speak with them and get feedback. Then obviously becomes the next piece, which is on the back side of this one, which is keeping repeat customers. How do you get people to come back to you? They've had a good experience. They've given you their feedback. They've told you, we like you. how do you now get them to come back or then tell someone else? You know, you always say, tell a friend to tell a friend. Well, tell a friend to come use my business and buy my product. Tell a friend to use my, you know, to come talk to me about, you know, the information that I have, that I possess. When businesses are successful and get people to continuously revisit them, that's become, you know, they become a memorable brand, right? You're part of their life. You know, be it a type of coffee that they drink every day, the hot sauce they use in their food, you know, the service they use to weatherize not only their house, but maybe their entire family's house. You know, so they refer, you know, to the aunt, uncle, cousins, the little league coach, the soccer coach, whatever it may be. Those are really key. But you have to ask for it. You have to ask for those referrals. And say, again, right, you handling them, you know, very good, get that information and say, I'm gonna do what, you know, I'm gonna do what you expect, and I'm gonna handle, you know, your referral just as good as I did with you. And they have to trust you. So it's sincere, you know, it's being sincere. But also getting that information to make sure that if there was something that you could have improved upon, that you do it for that next person. And don't be afraid to say that. You know, oh, okay, thanks for that information, I'll work on that. So again, it's instilling trust. Think about a time right now where you've bought a product or used a product or service that you yourself are a repeat customer. Right? Why did you go back there? Why did you use that product? Why did you use that service? Does anyone want to share an example? You're thinking of one right now, maybe you had to use one today? So you're going to pop up.
Well, it's going to be kind of weird, but like I tend not to do now, but when I was little, I would always drink like Coca-Cola. Because it was like, you know, it was accessible, it was cheap, and it's kind of like, it was kind of everywhere.
Right.
It's kind of like, and I think it was, you know, the logo is hope and happiness, and I think it's kind of cool because you think of parties, and you think of good times, and that probably was there.
Right.
When you're good times.
Okay. So you're a repeat buyer, consumer of Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, not now.
Not as much now. Okay.
This isn't me, but I always remember growing up, my grandfather he worked at a diner in New Jersey, and I always remember my grandmother talking about it and being really proud that like people always would go back to the diner because they would say like, when you go to this diner, Lee, like my grandfather, always comes by and he fills up your coffee again. And I think this was a time like in the 50s and 60s when maybe that was more like a southern hospitality thing. And so in New Jersey, this is what she would say. Like in New Jersey, people were very like, oh, he comes and he fills up your coffee again, and you don't even have to ask him, and he says hi and is like friendly, and he's the owner.
Right.
And I always remember that like made a big impression on people.
Exactly.
To come back.
Key word there, lasting impression. Impression. Yeah, absolutely. Anyone else have an example?
Probably people like to be, I think people like to be known. Like I've worked in food businesses and I've experienced food businesses where like if a customer comes in and you know their order, they're gonna tip better. And if you go into a place and like they know you, then you're like, oh yeah, I'm like regular. Like if you have friends visiting from out of town, you're gonna take them to that place and be like, oh, so cool, like all the research, like they know what I get when I walk in the door. I didn't have to ask.
How many people, when they go to a particular restaurant, when your waitress, waiter tells you their name, you make it a note to remember it and to use it throughout the time that you're dining there? You think about that? Yeah.
I do that in the bar.
You do it in the bar.
Like I have to know the name of my bartender. It's like if bartender is bad, I don't go back. It could be the best atmosphere.
But you also remember, because you build a rapport, right? It may be 10 minutes, it may be 2 hours. You build a rapport with him or her. And guess what? A good bartender, good server, someone in the food industry will always ask what your name is. customer. Because they want to say, hey Matt, how'd you like that calamari? Oh, it was a little chew. Oh really, you know what? I'll make sure I take that off the bill, but don't worry about it. All of a sudden, I just won him over. He just said, I had some calamari, didn't like it, and I was willing to make an adjustment on the bill. Right? He knows my name, I know his name. Again, rapport. So that's very, very important. Get to know your customers' names. One of the little cheap things that a lot of you, when you go to conferences and you get business cards, right? I learned this from someone way back when. Get a business card, you meet them, write down something memorable about them on the back of their cards. Maybe they told you they had 2 kids. Write down 2 kids. Write the date and time that you met them. File that away, because you never know. When I used to do mortgages, I used to call my repeat customers. I would have their business card or information sitting on my desk. Because guess what? I could say, hey, how's little Johnny doing? Is he still playing soccer? Oh, guess what? Oh, he was doing karate. Last time he was in the yellow belt. What's he at right now? Those people will be surprised you remember that. I didn't remember it all. I had it on the back of the business card or on my notepad. Keep good notes. Become memorable. That separates you from the masses. It does. Okay. All right. So, keeping repeat customers goes, obviously, the most important thing is finding the customers first. All right? So finding and then keeping them repeat customers, having them come back. You want them to dine with you multiple times. Okay, questions so far? Okay. Then the last piece, bless you. What to do if you get a bad review? How do you deal with damage control? No? Are we going to go and get Miss Scandal herself? And she'll fix it for us? Kerry Washington? No. We've got to handle it ourselves. We're our own fixers, right? We're our own solution fixers. We're changing this. So you have an exercise here. And this is it's literally called damage control. You know? And it gives you a prime example of what to do when someone writes a bad review on Yelp. I don't think this one is in your notebook, so I'm going to hand out these sheets for all of you.
There's only 10 copies, and we'll email it out.
Okay. So,
running as like a co-op group.
please. All right. So if you want to take one and pass along. So this basically, if you want to, it's a little homework. It's not going to take long. But basically, you're going to go on to Yelp, read the reviews for At Home Realty, which is actually a business located in Dorchester, Massachusetts. And you're going to read some of the comments, and then you want to know, how did they remedy the solution? Did they acknowledge that they made a mistake? Or would they basically say to the customer, you're wrong, I'm right, go pound sand? Did they offer apology? Did they say, I'm sorry? One of the hardest things for a human being to say, there's actually 2 things. The first is I'm sorry, and the second thing is I don't know. Those are the 2 hardest things for a human being to say.
So, Dean, sometimes people know us as being a kind of community-based group. And if we offer, if there's some miscommunication and the customer doesn't get what they want us to fix it. So we fix it, then they expect us to be giving them services for not very much. You know? I mean...
Explain that. Are you saying services they wanted you to do it for free, or
it's
reduce
like,
costs?
Right. It's like they try to get as much as they can out of it.
We call it the could you just.
Oh, could you just? Yeah. Well, everything in life is negotiable, right? That's what some people really take that model. Everything in life is negotiable. So, when it goes south, things are going wrong, the first thing you have to say is, okay, this obviously, you didn't get what you were expecting. All right, so how do we fix it? And how can we come to a mutually beneficial point? So, I can't give you the product for free. I still have to get paid because I have to pay my staff. Time is money.
I like that.
But we can there's something that we can create a mutually beneficial situation. Okay? And that's, again, That's hard for people to say too, because it's uncomfortable. It's like, oh man, I got a nickel and dime, I gotta fight for my money. Yeah. Because if you don't ask for what you want, you won't get what you want.
And I think we'll be talking about this a little bit more later, but get it in writing.
Yes.
We all do services here that would be good to get in writing, right? Even bulk orders for the hot sauce, or jobs for friends of ours, you know. We just got stuck with a bad job at Future Focus because of not having enough communication or having it in writing, and we're working on our first wedding contract. And it's not fun to do that kind of extra work, but it's really important. Events for the pedicab, get it in writing, spell it out. And if it goes above and beyond, then you're like, it's not in the contract, let's find another agreement. Just so can you just, don't just keep going.
I wonder too if there's a way, like especially with landscaping or things where people might come to you and be like, oh, I'm your cousin, or I'm like your friend, I did you this favor way back, like can't you just give me this discount or whatever? Like maybe you could have a preset discount that you only consider giving if someone pushes you, so that you're handing them something that feels like, well, I really shouldn't, but I can give you this 10% family discount. And that's like, everyone knows that's as low as we can go. And you're not gonna give it unless someone's like really pushing. And then maybe you could even, I don't know if this is like advisable in marketing, but maybe you could even say like, I can give that to you if you can refer us to 3 people. Like if you make it.
That's hard though, because
yeah,
you know what?
How do you
get those referrals, get concrete referrals, right?
Yeah.
They can just give you 3 random names and phone numbers and say, oh yeah, they're interested in
And then,
services.
and then are those 3 people gonna expect that same 10% discount? Because they're gonna talk to this guy.
Exactly.
Yeah, so maybe it's like a fixed, you know, so that it's not like a vague, like, oh yeah, I can just do this whole extra job.
Right.
It's like, well, I can't do that, but we can do a 10% discount, or then they're like, yes.
What you were saying, was it like, cause I know in the mall, my friend owns a kiosk, and the way they sell things is really weird because it's usually paid by commission, so basically the more money you make selling it, the more money you make in general. And so let's say a product would cost like $5. They'll sell it, they'll be like, oh, come buy this amazing new thing for like $25. And then you're like, oh no, I don't have no money, blah, 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 blah. Then they'd be like, all right, just for you today, we're gonna start at 15. So like they still make like whatever they're making, plus what more. Is it like that, what you were saying?
Kind of, yeah.
They make you, like in the sense of making you feel special of like.
Yeah, like knowing what your bottom line is,
Yeah,
but then having a fallback in case someone's really pushing you and they're gonna get disgruntled if you say no. But like not offering it to everyone, just doing it as like a way to mitigate that situation where there might be like, my mom's friend comes and I don't want her to go talk smack to me, my mom about me or whatever, you know?
Yeah, this is definitely one of those tough conversations to push back if someone's not pleased with the product or service. But the first thing that I do, you know, we really all have to do is ask the question of what were the issues, what was the miscommunication, how can we fix it? How can we fix it? You know, so that you really want to create, you know, some people say it doesn't exist, but it does. How do you create a win-win situation? You get what you want, we get what we want and need, and we walk away bold. We're not going to be completely happy, but if we can get to, you know, a 60-40, I'm okay taking that 40% sometimes. You know what? Because 40% is better than nothing. Last comment.
Well, this happened the other day, and it was a funny scenario. A friend of mine is he's a contractor, he's mostly doing painting, and he had a job down in Palmer that he needed to finish up quickly, so he brought me in for a couple of days. And we did the master bedroom ceiling, and it was popcorn ceiling, and they're a bitch. And it had never been painted, you know, since it was put in, so it soaks up the paint. So sure enough, the homeowner wasn't happy, so we had to do a second coat. And we weren't even sure that would satisfy him, so as we're leaving, that was the last thing we did. My friend said, well, you know, give me a call if it's still not right. So he left it, you know, positive. And then later on I heard, I know his wife, and she said, yeah, and Kevin was going to call him back and check in with him and see if it was, you know, because he was going to offer to go back and do it again for free. And I said, tell Kevin, do not call.
Do that, no.
Do not.
No.
So hopefully he didn't. I mean, that's a case where
You already
you're
gave
almost
him the
going
ball.
overboard
Right.
and opening a can of worms that the guy's gonna say, yeah, I
Correct.
could use a third coat on that.
Yeah, you already gave him the
No.
ball, just let it sit.
Right.
Exactly.
Exactly.
That is the best thing to do.